barbershop was up to the crew. I came to get a fade and some sports talk too. I chop it up with Hezzy and he give me the stats. Cause men lie, women lie, but these numbers are facts. I politic with B-Ride, the sports guy too. We debate the wins and losses in the headline news. Buckle on my team, I'm screaming 5-0. But every time we lose, he on Twitter letting me know. In sports, Ted, no, it's just a loyalty thing. And when it comes to rap, I am royalty king. James Black, Mama, Money made Drew Brees. All rolled into one, we approach it with ease. Masters of the ceremony, host of the show. Barbershop sports is like tic-tac-toe. We talking X's and O's, we talking pop culture, clutch shooters, OT skulls. Brand new clothes, brand new flows. Sports all-stars, it's the fourth season, we have come so far. It's like one big family at the barbershop. We argue, but it's love at the barbershop. We don't always agree, but it's still all love. At the barbershop. Yeah, at the barbershop. Tuned in, it's the barbershop.
What up? What up? What up, planet Earth? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all around the world, the Barbershop Sports Show is back in effect after a short break. I call it the Memorial Day vacation. Big Hez was down in the DR, a.k.a. Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, with the homie Barry Cooper and Mr. Baris Andrews of Next Level Vacations representing for Barbershop Sports. Big Ted, I got me a nice tan, relaxed, I'm refreshed, and I'm back, brother.
Man, I'm just glad you came back. We were taking bets whether or not you were going to come back or not.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what I love to do, man. That was nice to be able to do something different and still represent for the Barbershop Sports crew. But I got to get back to my peoples, to the Barbershop Sports Nation out there. What up, peoples all around the world? What up to the networks that simulcast us live and those that spin the podcast from I-95 to Excite to Renegade to, oh my goodness, who else, Big Ted? Who else is out there spinning us live? We got folks WBAD.
Yeah, we got HUD City Radio, we got Starlight Entertainment, The Grind.
Oh, man.
We got KSXR. I'll tell you about that another time. But we got all of our friends. Did you call our Sports Jam? Did you call our Sports Jam Network?
Jam, my main man, Chad, Rob, Fishy.
Big Fish.
What's good? Big Fish. What's good, man? Got a lot of love for them fellas over there, man. They doing their thing. My main man, Nicky, over there. My main man over there at the Flagship. Shout out to him. Great shows that we work with.
Lee Val, Vanderberg, Big Murph.
Yeah, man. Shout out.
Hey, just want to shout out. I know you shouted out I-95 Sports, but Big Blackjack, we want to say what's up. And also to the fam out there in I-95 Sportsland, That's What She Said Sports, and
what up, Nicole? All the other
hosted shows. We love you.
No doubt, and we love the Barbershop Sports Nation just as much for, tuning in live if you can. I know the Stanley Cup Finals is going on, so all you hockey fans, if you're able to, give us a few minutes of your time, we definitely appreciate it. Actually, we appreciate that. We put it at the front of the show. We're going to be talking Stanley Cup Finals up front, and for all my NBA folks and things of that nature, we'll be doing that in the second half of the show. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Barbershop Sports Radio Show Inside the Barbershop. This is episode 20. Finally, the finals, baby. We have reached it. The zenith of both hockey and basketball, where the two best of the best duke it out in games of 7 to see who will hoist the Stanley Cup trophy, and in the NBA, the Larry O'Brien trophy. I am Big Hez, the host of the Barbershop Sports Show, holding it down here in lovely Orlando, Florida, via my hometown, New Orleans, Louisiana. Shout out to both beautiful cities and all the great people that live in them. Big Ted is holding it down, representing both the Queensboro and Long Island Borough. You know what I'm saying?
As always.
Shout out to Nassau County, man. When I touched down, Ted, I went to both of New York's airports when I got back from the Dominican Republic. I don't know how that happened, but Delta
worldwide
was kind of crazy mess. But I landed at JFK, and I had to take a shuttle JFK to LaGuardia. And, we'll talk about this a little bit later when we're talking baseball, but I got a chance to see the beautiful Citi Field, brother.
Oh, not a better park.
Home of the best.
Home of the best. I mean, they don't reflect that come August, September, and October when it really matters. But I tell you, beautiful park. And when I got that text message that you were in town, and the first thing I said is, do you need me to I don't know if I referenced the coupe or if I referenced the Range Rover. I just wanted to know, how did you want to style? Because I know that's how you live down in beautiful Orlando, Florida. I was going to rent something to pick you up.
You crazy, man. Man, of course my phone would be dead and there was not a place to charge it. That's just how it works, Big Ted. But definitely I'm going to get back up there to New York. I had no idea you were that close to those airports in Queens. But, definitely getting back up there and representing, how we do for Barbershop Sports Nation, man. Also, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, just so you know, the home of Barber Sports on the web is barbershopsports.com. Just put up a new blog about Michael Jackson Escape album, my thoughts on it for those of you who have listened and those who haven't listened. Go to barbershopsports.com, check it out, or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. I got to share it on my personal timeline on Facebook as well. Now, Barbershop Sports is independent. We support ourselves. Therefore, we say what we want, do what we want, how we want, when we want. That's the beauty of being independent and free from the man. So that being the case, when we see music artists out there that are, the musical equivalent of Barbershop Sports. Yes, we're doing this thing in sports and pop culture, but we all know that because pop culture brings together sports, music, technology, and all types of things, when we see artists doing their thing, we show them love. The independent artists trying to get their music out there. And as I'm going through this bevy of singles, I stumbled on this band called Consecutive, Ted. Believe it or not, since we talk in New York, it's right there in the backyard, and I think it's called Freehold, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Right. So this band, Consecutive, they have this joint called Jaded that we're going to jam before we get into the Stanley Cup joint. So shout out to the band Consecutive. You can follow them on Twitter at Consecutive, just like it sounds, and I'm pretty sure we'll be posting that on our Twitter feed as well. But this is their joint, Jaded, and don't get jaded because we are going to be back, and we're talking Stanley Cup. Let's get it. Yeah. Little rock, a little roll. You understand? Freehold, New Jersey. The band is consecutive. You got love on Barbershop Sports, so consecutive. If you see your name tagged on Twitter, please return the love. Return the love.
Hey. Shout out to consecutive. I kind of like that. And I want to say, since it's Freehold, New Jersey, I happen to know the Councilman Gary Rich. We want to give you a shout out of Freehold, New Jersey. You see, our reach is really deep. It's really deep.
No doubt. Political too, man. That's what's up. So yeah, I mean, all you independent artists out there, you feel like your joint hot, and number one, it's radio friendly. Don't be sending us a whole bunch of cussing and all that mess that you couldn't send to the regular radio station. But if you got a hot joint and it's radio friendly, send it to Barbershop Sports Show at barbershopsports.com. We'll give it a listen and see what's really good, baby. But now that we got that church business, what's up? You got something else, big?
I got to jump in and say, during your sabbatical, I don't know what we call it. Do we call it sabbatical, hiatus, vacation?
It's a little hiatus.
Yeah. Okay. Someone, and I got to look through the Twitter feed, sent us their demo to get played, and what I mean, there was so much foul language on there, and I was like, whoa. So I gave him a favorite. I gave him a quick favorite. I didn't retweet it, but I was like, okay, this is a little over the top, and this is how you don't get played. Back to you.
No doubt. I mean, you send a signal like that, you got to hit him with it. We don't do that. I got to hit you with that on after, man. So, yeah, Big Bucko, what's good, baby? I see you over there, man. What's happening?
Hey, man. You know me. I'm chilling. I see Ted working his politic game, shouting out, your local congressman and chairman out here. I don't have them type of connects. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out the whole 813-446-78770. I'm here. We're live. We're back in the building, baby. The team is back. Let's get it going.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I see my main man, Dansky, over there chilling in the cut. We're going to be talking to him later on tonight, about basketball and the best leagues. What's better? What's your favorite sport? Is it the NFL? Is it the NBA? Is it the NHL? Or is it something else? Is there something else out there that you like? Is it baseball? What's your number one sport? Is it NASCAR? What's your top five? So everybody out there, I want you to think about your top 5 sports leagues that you can't do without, that you will watch if it's on TV. And send it to us. Hit us at Twitter or hit us on our Facebook page. We got the chat room also popping on blogtalkradio.com/barbershopsports. But without further ado, like I said, this is episode 20. Finally, the finals. We are all set to talk about what's happening right now. Stanley Cup finals between two awesome teams in the Los Angeles Kings and the New York Rangers. And I feel honored that, we have such a fantastic ensemble cast, because I'm a hockey buff, big fan, super fan, and he plays the game himself, is in the barbershop. Mr. Todd Bascom, nationally published writer, I should also say, with Barbershop Sports, is in the house to talk hockey with Big Bucko, Brother Hez, and Brother Ted. So without further ado, Brother Todd, man, what's good, man? It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, how's everybody doing?
Oh, man.
Good to hear you.
It's great. It's lovely. It's lovely, Todd. I'm so glad you're here, man, because, this season I have slowly begun to develop a huge appreciation for hockey. I will say that I was introduced to it by my man F-Bomb and B-Ride, the sports guy up there in Rochester, when I was up there for New York for a couple of years. But this season, going to my first, live couple hockey games, won the Orlando Solar Bears here, the local team, and then shooting out to Tampa to check out the Lightning. I've just grown more and more, and it's becoming, one of my favorite sports to watch. And without further ado, let's talk about this East Coast team first, Ty. I mean, both teams are great, but let's talk about the New York Rangers' path to the Stanley Cup. In the beginning of the season, I know you wrote a lot of different articles on how you thought it would play out. Did you see the Rangers in this game right now?
I thought they had a chance to do it, but I didn't really see what kind of threw the monkey wrench in everything was I'd see the Bruins getting taken out by Montreal. So once that happened, I said, oh, well, the Rangers can definitely beat Montreal. It'll be a tough one. But I didn't start to really see that happening until Boston went down. Once that did happen, well, here we are. So, a lot of people will say the Rangers didn't have the same, they played inferior competition to get to this point. Which, I agree I agree with that to a point, but they did take down the number one seed in the East in the Penguins. We can say what we want to about their goaltending and their defense, but they were what they were. They were the number one seed, and Montreal showed everybody, what they really were, and so that was a tough series too. So once Boston went down, I knew, okay, there's a good chance they're going to get to the final.
No doubt. And, like you said, Boston looked like the unbeatable team. They were the most physical and one of the most talented in the East, as you have broken down for us before. So, we didn't see Montreal doing that, like you said, and it kind of cleared the path for the Rangers. Now, the series against the Canadiens, that was a very exciting series as well. What would you say gave the Rangers the head up over Montreal in that series to help get to this Stanley Cup Finals, where they are winning right now, by the way?
There was two main reasons. They were the more disciplined team, and Montreal was, it was clear to me, especially towards the end of the series, they were gassed. Now, there's been in hockey circles, there's been some talk about were they gassed because of their coach. If you watch the games, if you notice the last two games, I think games 5 and 6, Coach Therrien just kind of shortened his bench, and you had guys like P.K. Subban and Markov. He kind of went down to 4 defensemen. And, I was watching Subban try to get on and off the ice sometime, and the guy had just had nothing. When you get tired, I don't know if anybody out there listening plays the game, but I do, and I can tell you, once those legs get tired with long shifts, you just can't, you start to lose your focus. You start to make bad decisions, and we saw the Montreal defense do that a lot, especially as the series wore on. So I think that had a lot to do with now, look, whether or not, the reverse argument to that is, well, the coach went with his best. So I see both sides of it. But it was clear to me that the Rangers, as the series went on, were the fresher team.
Gotcha. And, they seem to be carrying that momentum, at least right now, in the first period of Game 1, where they're up right now on the Kings 2-1. Now, as we still focusing on this fantastic East Coast West Coast matchup, in the New York Rangers roster, besides some names like Heinrich Lundqvist, folks that are even kind of casual fans know, St. Louis, who are some other names to watch out for as far as key players on that squad?
I think what the Rangers have to do now, and what they've shown in the first period, is that the one clear advantage that they do have over the Kings is team speed. You got guys like Benoit Pouliot, a big, fast center iceman. You've got Chris Kreider, Boston College product. They drafted him a couple seasons ago strictly for his speed. And you watch those guys get up and down the ice, they do it very well. And there's a saying in hockey, speed kills. And you see that in the first period of this game with those 2 goals. Ryan McDonough, he's their star defenseman, quickly becoming a superstar. And the big thing about him is he's improved his offensive game as well. So those are the Matt Zuccarello, another little guy, but he's a speed guy. Carl Hagelin. Those are the guys that are going to win this series for the Rangers if they're going to win it, along with Henrik Lundqvist. Because you can be sure the Kings are coming, and they're not going to stop coming. So those speed guys have to do it, and then going to the stars, the names like St. Louis and Nash. My criticism of both of them in this playoff run, and some will say, well, they just ran into hot goaltenders, but I saw over and over again they just kind of failed to finish. And they need to finish their opportunities in this series if they're going to win.
No doubt. I mean, this is it. There's no more games after this. It's win or go home, and that's why you have your stars so they can finish. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, Ty. Now, if my main man, I see Super Ted is chilling right now, but if he can, when he has a moment, weigh in. I'm going to ask you this. You guys are both New York guys. And all my New York folks out there who are Rangers fans, if you want to weigh on this, you can give us a call at 678, 646-727, is it 1963?
Yeah, this is what happens when you go on vacation.
When you go on vacation, man.
Don't be giving my number. Has he used him this time?
Come on, man. He's 678.
I'm about to give away
Bucko hotline.
I'm about to have the ladies blowing Bucko's phone up, man.
Boy, and Mrs. Bucko will straighten them out real quick.
I know that's real.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that jet lag. But for the New Yorkers out there, okay, is this current 2014 New York Rangers championship team, or competing for the championship, I should say, are they better than the team in 1994 that won the last time the Rangers were?
Todd, I'll let you lead off because I won't have something too favorable to say. Go ahead, Todd.
The answer to that is a clear no. This year's team is nowhere near as good as the 94 team. You got to remember, the 94 team won the President's Trophy. They were the best team in the league by far during the regular season. The Devils were right behind them, but I think they were something like 108, 110 points that season.
Yep.
They had bona fide superstars all over the place with Messier, with Mike Rick, with I could go on, Adam Graves. I mean, just on and on. They were better just in every facet of the game, except maybe for speed. But no, it's for me. It's not even worth discussing.
No, it's night and day.
It's not close, and it's just people. I heard this argument going back and forth, and I never really participated in it because to me it's just stupid to even think that this team is anywhere near what that team was.
Yeah. I'm seeing my guy in the chat room. He's like, no way.
Yes. No way. Listen, Hez and Todd and Bucko and the rest of the team, the fact that the '94 team had probably one of the greatest leaders in Mark Bessiere, and the fact that they're lacking that 2014, that's where it starts and ends.
Gotcha.
I'm leaving it there.
Well, now, my main man F Bomb in the chat room is saying that team in '94 was bought and paid for. Well, were they hockey's version of the Yankees back then? Anybody in New York want to weigh in on that?
They were all established. They were all, they were big time players. So it's like,
well, my response to that would be, so what?
Yeah,
I mean,
so what?
if that's true, so what? So what's the point? What's the point? They won the cup.
Yeah,
you have a nice day. What's the point of that whole discussion?
Yeah. Now, if you're spending money and you're not winning championships, then yeah, let's talk about it. But if you're out there, you're spending your money for a purpose and you're achieving the purpose, what the hell is the problem? Well, why is that a negative? Why is that spoken to as a contrary? The Glazers, go out there and buy me a championship. I won't turn it down. Come on, let's get it. Damn that.
Hey, Big Hez.
Yes, sir.
I think we got a caller from Colorado Springs right now, live, and he wants to talk Rangers. So he's live right now.
Rangers,
he wants to talk Rangers. Live, this is the time.
Yeah, no doubt. He's right on time. So let's. I'm gonna bring him on. E from Colorado Springs. Welcome to the Barbershop Sports Show.
Oh, what up? We almost scored another goal. About 2 feet from making it 3-1.
No doubt. The boys are on fire.
They had to do the NBC see it and see the puck fly right by. I said, "Damn it, man! That could have been 3-1." So,
yes, sir.
I've been watching. I watch a lot of basketball, and I heard you guys talking about '94. And my family was into hockey. I really wasn't into it that much. I was 13, but as a Knicks fan, those Walt Frazier years, I wasn't really alive for that. So when people talk about comparing teams and stuff, I mean, of course, '94 Rangers was better. But does that mean nothing for the people 20 years later, 2014? I mean, and then when I hear about how easy the conference slate was, well, what the hell do you think the Miami Heat do every year? All you gotta do is get to the finals.
Good point.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, what's there? 2 teams in the East, and they beat the same one every year, the Pacers. I mean, it's not really. I mean, what does the Miami Heat do every year? So what does it matter how you got there? And we beat Pittsburgh. So I mean.
All you gotta do is get to the shift, man.
But I mean, when I hear easy road, we were down 3-1 to the Flyers. We beat Crosby, okay. And then we beat Montreal, which say what you want about Montreal, but it ain't our fault the Bruins lost to them.
Yeah, they shut the hell out of my Lightning. So I'm not saying nothing bad about Montreal. They made my Lightning look like they did not belong. So I'm not saying anything negative.
Well, they really didn't belong without Bishop.
Yeah.
You're right. Good point. So E, let me ask you your thought on this. Let's get an early prediction, man. What's your prediction for the victory of the Rangers? Are you saying
it looks like it's just been tied up?
Did they just tie it up?
Yeah, it looks like the Kings just tied it up. Drew Doughty pinching in.
Yep,
like
they did.
He scored.
I had it on pause for a second while I was talking. I just seen it 13-24. Unfortunately, I think that the Kings is a hard team to predict because they came back 3-0 against San Jose. They win all their game 7s. So I would like to say the Rangers in 6 because I don't want to say 7 because the Kings win all the game 7s. So Rangers in 6.
There you go.
Okay.
Because that's kind of an oxymoron picking a team to beat the Kings in Game 7. So.
No doubt. Yeah, we saw what they did to Chicago. So I mean,
they beat everybody. They beat everybody in Game 7. Anaheim, Chicago, San Jose.
Good point.
So I don't really want to see them in Game 7, you know what I mean? I want to win it in MSG.
There you go.
No doubt, at home. That's what I'm talking about right there. Well,
that's it.
Well, E, man, I appreciate you for calling in, brother. Keep listening. We're about to start talking about the Kings, and keep us posted on what's going on with the game, my friend.
But y'all don't need to talk about the Kings, though. Y'all don't need to talk about the Kings.
We're going to cover it all, man.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right, brother. Be good.
No doubt. Thanks for your call, brother. So yeah, man. I mean, you heard it. You know, Rangers fans say Rangers in 6. And we, you know, now we're talking about the Kings. He made some good points. Doesn't matter how you got there, as long as you're there. And being down 3-1 to the Penguins, that's not easy to come back. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I'm sure the percentages lie for the team that's up 3-1, not the team that's down 3-1. So they didn't have an easy road. They had to fight, kick, and scratch to be where they are right now. So no disrespect to the New York Rangers. But on the flip side, Big Todd, the Los Angeles Kings have also fought, kicked, and scratched. And like my main man E from Colorado Springs broke down, Todd, they won all of that series in Game 7. So let's talk about, first of all, who to watch out for on that team. You know, a lot of folks know, Isaac Kopitar, Jonathan Quick, and you just brought up Doughty, who's a stud. Who are some other names that we should be looking out for on the Los Angeles Kings side?
Well, you gotta look out for Justin Williams. He's a big winger. He's caused a lot of trouble for a lot of teams as we've gone along. Gaborik, former Ranger, leads the NHL playoffs in goals. The whole thing about these two teams is they're almost identically built. They're built goaltending out. Goaltending and defense is both these teams' games. The difference and what makes the Kings such a heavy favorite is that they have more offensive punch than the Rangers do. And guys like Gaborik and Williams and Kopitar, they have offensive superstars that the Rangers don't really have. I mean, let's face it, Nash and St. Louis have seen their better days. So they've got guys that are primed and ready, and these guys are the ones getting the job done. There's a lot of offensive firepower there that we don't see with the Rangers. So while they're kind of identical, the Rangers are kind of at a disadvantage there. So now, Quick hasn't been what he hasn't been dominant like he was in 2012 when they won it. He's been what we goaltenders call fighting the puck. He'll get a lot of pucks in towards his chest and in his pads that squirt free. So you're getting rebound opportunities on him, and the Rangers have to try to pounce on that. So he's there to be had if he plays like he's been playing. So that's a little concern, but the Kings are just so big and strong and physical and good offensively that, this is why they're at an advantage in the series.
Gotcha. Well, with that breakdown between those two goalies, I don't know if that completely answers the question, but I'll ask it anyway. I mean, Heinrich Lundqvist and Jonathan Quick, who's your better goalie? Who would you rather have in front of net right now?
Well, right now, Lundqvist played better throughout these playoffs. Quick has not been great this year, and people don't remember, early in the season, the Kings really struggled, and Quick was not good. Then he went on to the Olympics, where he was okay, but he's not really hit his stride this year. So definitely, look, I mean, Lundqvist, Quick, Tuukka Rask, Carey Price with the, take your pick. You're not going to go wrong with either of those four guys. But based on what they've done in the playoffs, Lundqvist is the guy I would want between the two.
Gotcha. Well, these guys both look like they ain't going home. They're both knotted up 2-2, like you said. They got the both identically built as teams, but the Kings have the younger, stronger, more offensive threat with their guys as opposed to the Rangers, who have a few guys that are not necessarily over the hill, but like you said, have seen their better days. So, I mean, I know you're a New York guy, man, but give us your quick thoughts on, unbiased, being that you're from New York, on how you think this Stanley Cup Finals is going to wind up.
I think, those advantages I spoke about with LA are real. The one hope that the Rangers will have is, we've seen through these playoffs that they can get the quick. They have to use their speed like they did in the first period, and they can do that. That said, I just don't think that when push comes to shove, they're going to have enough offense to get over the top. And it's been something that's bedeviled the Rangers the last few seasons. Is they will struggle to score goals. So based on all of that, I've said that the Kings would win in 6. I could very easily see that the Kings could sweep the Rangers. If they can't get that transition game going, I could definitely see that. But I'm going to give the Rangers 2 games. I hope they can win the series, and I think that they can. But, if I'm looking at it as a hockey guy and not a Rangers fan, and be honest with what I'm seeing, I have to make that pick.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, as a broadcaster, as a journalist, you kind of got to take your heart out of it and just focus on your mind and what you know to be true. You don't let your heart cloud your judgment, man. I appreciate that unbiased opinion, and not to completely steal all the thunder from your blog that we're going to be putting up shortly. You breaking that down in even more detail, why you think either the Kings in 6 or what the Rangers could do to best the Kings with all those young, powerful offensive guys that they got over there. So everybody out there, sooner than later, Big Todd, like I said, nationally published journalist, his blog will be up on barbershopsports.com, on our Facebook page, and out in the Twitterverse really soon. So those hockey fans, the novices new to the sport, and the hardcore, diehard fans, please check that article out. You won't be disappointed. Now, before we get out of here, before we stop talking hockey, 100% totally, Todd, I want your thoughts on what does the commissioner, the NHL commissioner, I believe his name is Gary Bergman, what does he need to do to raise this sport up to the level that it was back in the 94 season when the Rangers were playing, back when, Gretzky was playing, and, hockey was pervasive in all forms of pop culture. I mean, even hip-hop stars were wearing hockey jerseys. I can remember vividly the Gin and Juice video with Snoop Dogg. When he first came out, he had a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey on. That's how big hockey was at the time. What does Gary Bergman need to do to raise this sport to that level again?
Well, the first thing, which I'm glad to see, is that this game is on NBC.
Yes.
It's not on NBCSN. It's not on Universal, whatever the hell channels that they have. So that's the first key. I'm glad to see that it's on network television. So that's number one. Number two, my biggest criticism of Bettman is that he does not, unlike the NBA, he does not market the stars like he needs them. Now, some people have said that it's difficult because the stars are mostly not American, which, I think is nonsense. You take a guy like Henrik Lundqvist and, superstar player. Have you ever seen the guy in a suit? My wife can't stop looking at the guy.
Playboy.
So, I mean, you got to get a guy like this, and you got to market the hell out of him. and push it. What happened with the NBA when it was flying, with Jordan? I mean, everybody knew who the stars were. Now you know who all the stars are. And the the NHL has to get better at that. But the first part of that is getting on network TV, which they've done, and I'm glad to see that they at least put Game 1 on NBC.
I'm with you on that.
And the last part of that is which is what I try to do, is bringing the game to a whole new set of fans, and trying to educate people on the game. I'm telling you, every time I take someone who's never seen the sport to a game, they become hooked. Granted, it's not that.
I'm a tester. I can testify to that because it happened to me.
Yeah, and granted, it's not the best television game you can watch. The educated fan doesn't mind that so much. So bringing the game to different people and educating people about the game is part 3 of all of that. If they can get all of that together, and part of that, I guess, is through marketing. Yeah. So it all ties into the NHL marketing their superstars and the game itself.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that thought out, broken down answer, man. I mean, because it has a great product. We were debating it the other day, as opposed to the NBA and what it would need to do. So there's some of us that feel that hockey could never get up to the level that the NBA is on now. And so I appreciate those thoughts, man. Not only, one, working your way onto network television, but 2, now you have to market your stars. So definitely that's great, Ty. Well, Ty, man, I know you're all into this game right now, so I appreciate the time that you were able to take and come and share your thoughts with the Barbershop Sports Nation, my friend.
No problem. I'm going back to the TV.
No doubt.
Enjoy it, Ty. Appreciate you,
brother.
All right.
Thanks for the call. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, that's nationally published journalist and part-time broadcaster, Mr. Todd Bascom, our resident hockey player, goalie. So coach, all of that, teacher. I mean, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So in addition to, we have another hockey buff in B-Ride, the sports guy, and F-Bomb over there as well. It's definitely great to have him on the team. But there's so much stuff going on right now. This is a great weekend in sports. We got another specialist in the queue because there is a horse out there in the world that goes by the name California Chrome. That's like one of the sweetest names I've ever heard for a horse. He has won the Kentucky Derby. He has won the Preakness. Everybody wants to know. It's been 36 years. Can California Chrome bring home the Triple Crown, baby? Big Michael Esposito, a.k.a. Espo, horse racing specialist, in addition to some of the other things he does with the team, is in the house. I hope he's got his mic hot. I see you chilling over there in the cut. Big Espo, let's talk horse racing for a few minutes. What's good, brother?
What's going on, Es?
Oh, man, I'm fired up, man. You invited me. First of all, these are 2 sports that I've been introduced to and have just been sucked up into the energy and the excitement of it. I went with Big D 2.5 to the Tampa Bay Forum to check out a Lightning game live, and I was just blown away. And here my main man, Big Espo, say, yo, you got to come check out horse racing at the High Line. And I go there, and it was unbelievable, the energy that was in that building. Now, Big Espo, first of all, let's talk about California Chrome and his path to where he is right now. Like I said, he's won the Kentucky Derby. He's won the Preakness. There was some issues back at the Preakness with his nasal strips, but they got over that. He seems to be doing okay health-wise. But this Belmont Stakes is no joke. We're talking about 1.5 miles. Now, first of all, I want you to break down for the Barbershop Sports Nation his gate position and how you feel it will either work in his favor or work against him for this race.
Okay, thanks for having me on, guys. And don't forget, we're going out there to Saturday to the highlight again. If anybody wants to join us is listening and they're in the Central Florida area, or if you're not in the Central Florida area, you're more than welcome to fly down. But, me and Hezzy will be out there. I don't think they will, but me and Hezzy will be out there watching the race there, watching history, hopefully. When we first heard about this, nobody was confirming who was going to race in this race. They were kind of like bluffing. Nobody was saying, "Oh, we're definitely racing." As it got closer and closer to the day, it started to blow up, and it was 14 horses that said they were racing. This morning at about 11 o'clock, they drew for post, and it ended up being 11. Okay, the post that California Chrome got was 2, which is a good post in an 11-horse field because you're going to get the break good. You don't have too many horses to your left, and you obviously got the rest of your horses to your right. But when you break, you want to break to your rails. You don't want to break to the outside. So you're going to be trying to break to the rail and get to the rail and save ground. Saving ground is, keeping the tightest path without going too far wide, because you use up more energy that way. So I think the 2-hole is a great spot for him, and I think that that's going to, of course, like always, there's going to be somebody out there that says, "Oh, they're doing this to help him win." The bottom line is 1.5 miles. It's called the true test of champions for a reason. No horse is bred for 1.5 miles. None of these horses run 1.5 miles anymore. This is one of the few races that still go off at 1.5 miles, and it's a grueling race because not only is it 1.5 miles, which is the longest of all the 3 Triple Crown races, but on top of that, it's been 6 weeks since they've ran the Derby. They've ran 3 races in 6 weeks. These horses that are, the champion horses, they don't run that much. They run once every other month, maybe once every 3 months, depending on it's called layoffs. And depending on their layoffs, I mean, these horses could run in January and then not run again until April. So they're not used to this 3 races in 6 weeks. So that's another factor. But the field brings 4 new shooters. New shooters are horses that were not in the Derby or the Preakness. They're specifically brought in just to beat California Chrome, which I think is disgraceful by any of the owners. I think that's just terrible. If you haven't raced in the Derby or the Preakness, there should be some kind of prerequisite that you shouldn't be allowed. If there's a Triple Crown, you shouldn't be allowed to put a horse in the 3rd race just to beat the Triple Crown winner. Like, that's spiteful.
I'm with you 100%. I feel like, and I'm new to this. I feel like, look, if I'm putting my championship horse who has raced 2 races back to back, and you coming in here with a fresh horse, I mean, dude, that's unfair. Disgusting. I feel like if a horse is in that race, Espo, they need to have the same track record as California Chrome. You should have been in the Kentucky Derby, and you should have been in the damn Preakness. If you wasn't in those 2 races, you can't be in the damn Belmont Stakes.
Well, I mean, you could be in one. I mean, I wouldn't mind, like if you ran in the Derby and you took the Preakness off and you went for the Belmont, that's okay. But, I mean, some of these horses don't even have stake wins. They've won, like, local, maiden and allowance, which is less than stakes. It's like lower-level minor league races. And now these owners, the owners are buying these horses and going, "Oh, we're going to put them up against Triple Crown hopeful, California Chrome." I don't think that any of those new horses have a shot to beat them anyway. It's just it's why the 36 years have gone by and we haven't had a Triple Crown winner, and it's kind of bad. It really is. I don't agree with it, and like I said, we'll definitely see on Saturday whether or not this is this was meant to be or not.
Well, I'll tell you, man, he's got a cool-ass name for a horse, man, so I'm definitely pulling for him. But, let's talk about some of the horses that do have a definite shot to to beat him. I'm looking in the chat room. I'm seeing Commanding Curve, has a shot. What's your thoughts on some of the other horses in the race that have a shot to take him down?
Well, yeah, Commanding Curve has a shot, but, Commanding Curve, this is like the third time that he tried to beat him, and he's been unsuccessful in 3 chances. I believe Commanding Curve had faced him twice before. I knew he definitely faced him in the Derby, and Chrome put him away in the Derby. Another one is Wicked Strong. He's had 2 chances to put away Chrome. He couldn't do it. Maybe the third time's the charm for him. That would be he kind of scares me, but again, with the 1.5 miles, you never know what you're going to get out of these horses, and the key is to save energy because you're going to need something for that last half mile. The first mile in the 1.5 miles is a gallop. It's nothing more than a gallop for them. They're going to go out there and they're just going to jog it out. That last half mile is going to be the grueling part where they're going to have to dig in and find something in the tank to get there. If you've watched any of the highlights from the past 98, the guy got nipped at the line, at the wire for the finish line by a nose for the Triple Crown. That's just bad luck. And then 2004, everybody's favorite horse who was undefeated. He hadn't lost ever in his life, not just in the last couple of races. He hadn't lost ever. He shows up at the Belmont, he takes the lead with a furlong to go, and all of a sudden the horse who's got a ton of energy just comes closing on him, and he loses the race by, I think it was a neck or half a length. But, it's the test of champions. And only the best get to win this race. And hopefully California Chrome will stand up and show everybody what he really is. And that's a gifted horse in a mediocre field. Unfortunately, the 3-year-olds that are around him are mediocre, and it makes him look like he's not as good as he really is. And I think that's a disgrace that people are saying that.
Gotcha. Well, I tell you what, we talked about the Rangers earlier where people say they had an easy path. It doesn't matter how you got there, as long as you get there.
Yep.
And I'm definitely, like I said, pulling for him. And ladies and gentlemen out there in the Central Florida, especially the Orlando area, me and Big Espo will be at the Highlight in Castleberry, Florida on 1792, checking out, hoping, pulling for California Chrome. So we hope to meet some of you out there, talk horse racing and your thoughts on other things as well in the world of sports. We'll be looking forward to it.
Don't forget $2.75 beers. You can't beat that.
Yeah, man, you can't beat that. And excuse the occasional degenerate gambler. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, you just got to deal with the crazy degenerate gambler that says California Chrome, he ain't gonna finish in the top 3. Don't worry about it.
Right. And get there a little early because last time I went there, man, I almost got run over by this big fat black dude driving an F-150 trying to get his damn bet in. Like, man, I mean, he didn't even want to wait the band to get counted to get in, put his bet in. I'm like, you know what time the race is. You gonna threaten my life? I was with my girl too. It is serious, and I found out how serious it was by going to the Highlight. So I hope you guys come out and have fun with us. We're gonna have a good time, man. Is they gonna be there too?
I believe he is. He said he was probably gonna come for the race and hang out with us.
And just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, AJ is our NFL scout guy and draft guy. He's got a lot of good blogs on BarbershopSports.com. He was also at the Kentucky Derby with us, so hopefully he'll be there as well. You can meet some of the folks that do the radio show and work behind the scenes. So, yeah, man, I'm stoked. I'm excited. Like I said, we got Stanley Cup going on right now. NBA Finals starts tomorrow. We got Triple Crown Belmont Stakes this weekend. This is a great week in sports. And thanking in and dropping jewels of knowledge on what this horse racing game is all about, my friend.
Absolutely, man.
No doubt. Well, we're going to catch up with you soon, brother.
All right, see you on Saturday.
All right, Big Espo.
Later.
So, yeah, ladies and gents, that was Big Espo, the resident horse racing specialist. I seen Big B-Ride, Big F-Bomb, throwing their horse names out there too. So I don't know. B-Ride might have a clue, man. He might be putting in that winning bet this weekend. I'm definitely gonna be keeping track of him, because if he come around, if I see him taking pictures in a Bentley, I know what happened. So B-Ride, I'm just putting you on notice, brother. You got some tips. I want to know before Saturday, man. I want to know if you know who the winning horse is, because I'm going for California Chrome. You saying Commanding Curve. My main man, what F-bomb say? Wicked Strong. So you guys know something I don't. Let me know.
It's history. That's what California Chrome is going against. So
yeah, it's the reason it's been 36 years. It's a reason.
12 horses have failed, so.
And I tell you one thing.
I want to break the curve, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure I'm betting on, but I will let you know before I place that bet, okay?
No doubt. And I told Espo, man, if California Chrome doesn't do it, me and him going to get a horse and we're going to name it Bucko Lucko. And that's going to race for the Triple Crown. It's going to be the next Triple Crown winner. Bucko
Lucko. You can't go wrong there. You can't go wrong there.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see what happens, man. But baseball, we're shifting gears. B-Ride, we were getting ready for this show, trying to give the fans the best of what's going on in the wide world of sports. And we talked about the Toronto Blue Jays. And that's a name, I hear every now and then when we talk baseball on occasion. But these guys are off a smoking hot start. Now, let's talk about that for a little bit, man. I mean, what has gotten the Toronto Blue Jays off to such a hot start, my friend?
Well, I mean, some of the moves and money they spent in the last couple of years are starting to really pay off. This year, Mark Burley, they got him last year. He, looking like the same old Burley, but this year, I mean, he's first pitcher in MLB to get to 10 wins. His ERA is just over 2, and he's pitching great. I mean, he doesn't have a great fastball. He uses more control and uses his off-speed stuff to keep guys off balance, and he's been absolutely great this year for him. And then you go to the offensive side, and, these guys can hit the ball. They had Melky get suspended last year. He's coming back. He's picking up where he left off. You got Jose Bautista, also another power hitting and bat there. Edwin Encarnacion. He's got, I think, about 20 home runs. I think it's like 18 or 19 right now. So these guys are hitting the ball, and to get the pitching to go along with it. I'd highlighted Burley. Dickey's having a decent year so far, but you get the offensive support like that. They got a good bullpen. Casey Jansen, their closer, has been great this year. He hasn't given up much of anything. So when you combine all that, you get the Blue Jays that just went on an absolute tear and just kind of exploded. They're kind of off to a slow start, kind of in the middle, and then in the month of May, absolutely exploded and took command and control of the AL East right now. Now, I know it's only June, and it's early, but right now we're seeing the Yankees, they're struggling right now to stay above 500. They've had injuries, guys that don't look like they might even come back this year, and they're still an old team yet. Boston, they were on a terrible losing streak. Then were able to win 8 in a row, but because of the hot streak that Toronto was on, they only gained 2 games in the standings. Tampa Bay this year, I mean, they've had some injuries, but they're having a bad season.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Terrible.
So, I mean, it's not like Toronto cannot, get out front and stay here. I mean, I think, was it going in today, they were 4 games up on Baltimore and 5 games up on the Yankees. So, I mean, this is a team with that offense. I don't know if Burley can really maintain what he's done to start. But even if he's anywhere close to how he's gotten off to the start this year, they'll have that ace in the beginning of that staff. And like I said, the offense, Ray's, a lot of people thought he was absolutely done. I mean, he's not putting up great numbers, but he's putting up better numbers than he has. But Lowry's another guy that's
it's just the fact that he's actually playing. It's just the fact that he's actually playing, brother. That's what he's actually on the field.
Yeah. So
let me ask you
this.
Right?
I mean,
yeah, no doubt. I see you have a strong feeling about this. Now, I want to test just how strong a feeling you have. Are you feeling so strong that you feel like 1992 and 93 Toronto Blue Jays world champions?
Stop it.
No.
Hey,
there's nowhere close there yet. I mean, they got to get through the East first here. Like I said, I really think their toughest competition right now is going to be Baltimore. Like I said, the Yankees are old. And if you watch them play, Yankees they look flat. They look old and stale out there. It doesn't look like a very good baseball team. Boston, there's question marks about them going into this year. I mean, Toronto, along with most of the other so-called experts, had them dead last in the AL East. But like I said, all that money they spent last couple, it's finally starting to come back and pay off for them. So they have the talent on the team, or at least they thought they did, and now that talent's actually starting to show through. So now they got to keep playing consistent baseball. I don't know if they're going to run off 11 straight again to jump up in a big lead like this. But like I said, they play consistent baseball for the rest of the season. You're definitely going to see them in contention down come September and October.
Gotcha. Ted, you just straight shut me down with the 92-93 comment. Like, don't even go there.
No, it's kind of similar to the comments you made about Kobe and his knee. And I think Bucko and I, in unison, shut you down. We was like, come on, man, knock it off. And then you blew up the knee.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Well, I mean, I got a question for B-Right. You're almost in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? You almost could throw a rock and hit the city of Toronto from where you at in Lake Ontario. Or if you go up to Seabreeze, at least. Now, maybe not where you at right now, but if you go up to Seabreeze, you could almost hit Toronto with a rock. Let me ask you something. How big is baseball in Toronto? I mean, Canada is known for its love of hockey, but how big is baseball? I mean, does the city of Toronto really support that Blue Jays team or what?
I mean, you saw when you brought up the 92, they definitely embraced that team and were huge fans. It kind of fluctuates. I mean, Toronto is a great place. I've gone up there a few times and seen Baltimore play, and I was privileged to pay, I think I paid like $13, and I pretty much had my choice of where I wanted to sit. Granted, this was a few years ago, but I've been there over a handful of times, and there's some Toronto fans, like they have a core, but a lot of the other ones, especially New York being so close to see, I went up and I saw Yankees games, and there was more Yankees fans than Toronto fans.
Because it's too expensive to watch a Yankee game.
With them finally putting out a winning product, though, I mean, it's tough to go, watch your team, be dead last every year. So, now that this team is finally starting to have some success, it's going to be, how's the Toronto community going to react? Are they going to start coming out more and supporting this team now that they're actually winning, or is it going to be just small type things where they're, depending on who they're playing, the fans could be outnumbered up there?
Yeah, well, I hope they don't do the Blue Jays like the city of Cleveland did the Indians, man. I mean, the Indians last year were tearing it up, and, man, Cleveland didn't even come out, man. It was disgusting. So I hope Toronto was like, we've been down at the bottom for a little while. We're starting to show a little spark. I hope they can come out and support that team, man. Now, it's about 120 games or so left in the season, long season. So, I'm not saying get excited. I'm not saying 92, 93, but, support your team. That's all. I
just find it hard for you to reference. The fans of Cleveland. I mean, it's Cleveland. Do you want to get out in Cleveland? Man. Well, I'm going to lock myself inside all the time if I have to live in Cleveland. I don't want to see that place. No offense, Cleveland. No offense. Just taking a shot.
No doubt. I feel you. I don't know what the hell I would do in Cleveland. Maybe take trips to Canton, but that's not in Cleveland. So I don't know what the hell I would do in Cleveland. But I digress. Now, Big Ted.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk Beckett's no-no. Let's talk Ryu's almost no-no. And Donnie Baseball. Let's start with Beckett, man.
It's always all about the Dodgers. It's about these big market teams. As much as we love the small market teams, and it's all about the big. You're always going to hear about the Yankees and the Red Sox, and of course the Dodgers because of Guggenheim Partners, along with Magic Johnson.
Right.
Josh Beckett put forward a heck of a game 2 Sundays ago. Threw a no-hitter. Pretty tough. He's at the ripe age of 34. I mean, it's been well documented about all of his injuries and issues he's had and, the big trade from Boston, but he pulled it through. And then the next day, the almost perfect game. It's you're looking at that Dodger pitching staff and you're saying, okay, Kershaw and Greinke and I mean, they're paying for it, but they've got some heavy hitters out there, that could be on the mound any given day. You catch them in a short series, you're in trouble. To sum it up, I won't talk about hitting or anything else like that, but it's funny that every year, right about around this time, there's always whispers about Donnie Baseball being in trouble. And it's kind of the gift and the curse, because when you have a $200+ million payroll, of course you're on the hot seat whenever you lose 2 or 3 in a row. So I'm going to pass it to Bucko so he can get his thoughts in.
My thoughts are plain and simple. Beckett had a good game. Ryu's throwing a good game right now. They've had good moments at times, but they're behind by 7 games. San Francisco Giants are playing great baseball, but with a bunch of old guys like Tim Hudson and Tim Lincecum, and then Buster Posey not being the typical Buster Posey, Hunter Pence. Guys like this, they just keep pulling them in, and whatever Bruce Bochy does, it works. Whatever they do in San Francisco, it works every year, yet no one talks about them until October. They're kicking the crap out of baseball. They're the best record in baseball. And you're talking to me about Josh Beckett because he finally did something. I'm troubled by that. But go ahead.
I appreciate those thoughts, brother. Hey, represent for the team that's actually doing something. So I appreciate that, man. No doubt. I mean, and I feel your point as well, Big Ted. I mean, when you're given a Ferrari, man, if you drive the wheel too close to the curb, man, people freaking out. And that's what Donnie Baseball has, man. That's a Ferrari of a team. $200 million. It's not a Honda Accord team, man. It's a Ferrari. So, you got to treat it with care, because if it looks like it's veering off the least little bit, people are freaking out. So, Bucko, I appreciate you giving the team that deserve the props.
Yeah,
and Big Ted, it's a large market, man. You got to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco's not a small market. It's not L.A.
No.
They don't have the Guggenheimer money behind them, but damn it, they keep winning. When are we going to talk about them in the sports world? When? Now, I think Barbershop Sports needs to talk about winning. Let's not talk about how much money you spend. Let's not talk about how marketable you are. Are you winning? So right now, Toronto, Milwaukee, and San Francisco are winning. We need to talk about them because they're playing damn good baseball. That's just my humble opinion, but, I'm going to roll with it.
Ain't no doubt. That's why we come in the barbershop, brother. So I respect it and appreciate it 110%. So, B-Ryan, I finally got a chance to pull up that Ephus pitch. By my man, that was the craziest pitch I have ever seen. The ball went up like 15, 20 feet in the air. It came down in the strike zone. And my thought was that a legal pitch? Was it a strike? Or was that a ball?
That was a strike. All day.
My God.
All day. I think, that just absolutely caught umpire off guard. Being back there, especially, up at that level, as a professional team in Japan, where they do take baseball seriously and have good players over there. All of a sudden, see a pitch. You didn't see it on the screen. It just travels so high up. A lot of softball leagues have where the highest you can go is 20 feet, and it's got to be at least 6 feet, so it's 26. I think that pitch right there would have been an illegal pitch because of how high it went. But it still came back and dropped into the strike zone. I was cracking up. I watched it several times. I think it caught ump off guard. You can tell the batter, when it first was coming in, it looked like he wanted to swing so bad, and then, kind of
yeah, it was like,
because, you don't see that every day. It was insane.
That's crazy. It was insane, man. And like I said, I had to come to you because, you one of our baseball buffs. I'm like, that can't be legal. And it was legal. If I was a batter, I would have been looking at the umpire too. Like, seriously? Like, what the hell was that? But yeah, no doubt, man. That was crazy. And you guys out there, just so you know, you can check out this if you want to check out the crazy pitch. The name of the pitcher is Kazuhito Tadao. You look it up. You search Japanese Ephus pitch, and you'll see one of the craziest pitches ever. Now, speak about the craziest. What's up,
Big Head? You know it's on the Facebook page right now, so they don't even have to look for it. Just go to Barbershop Sports.
There you go. BSS social media at work. Putting in work. That's what I'm talking about. So forget doing Google. You can go straight to Facebook for Barbershop Sports, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. Now, speaking about crazy pitches, a couple months back, Big Ted, we're gonna do a little pop culture right here. So B-Ryan, Big Bucko, just bear with us a few minutes, brother. We're gonna talk NBA Finals. We're gonna bring Big D 2.5, aka Dansky, in the building. When the pitch was brought to my attention, I should say, not like I was going to fund the movie, but the pitch that the news, X-Men Days Future Past, was going to be, a movie that was going to be taken over by Bryan Singer. I was done with this franchise, Ted. They disappointed me time and time again with complete, as boring as it is to eat a rice cake, Ted, like if you're trying to go on a diet, you're thinking about Popeye's chicken, and you can't eat Popeye's chicken, and you're eating that rice cake. That's what it was like watching those Wolverine Origins movies, the Last Stand, just completely.
Yeah, it's pretty
awful.
Bad. It's pretty bad.
And I'm talking about a guy that grew up with the X-Men comics, the X-Men cartoon. I know the story in and out. So I gotta say, I went to Regal Winter Park Village Theater to check it out in 3D. I was thoroughly pleased, brother. James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, did a hell of a job, and where I'm not a huge fan of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, he did a pretty good job as Wolverine in that flick. And my girl, she Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, she did a good job in this movie too. It was well directed. Bryan Singer did his thing. I mean, they got some other trouble and news that I'll probably be writing about that Bryan Singer has found himself caught up in.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, I'm not going to even get into that right now.
Nah, don't even touch that right yet. Don't even touch that. But
right.
Hez, I just to back up what you said, X-Men Days of Future Past, if for a lot of people that were let down with watching The Last Stand, and you kind of came back a little bit with First Class, but then Wolverine's, the X-Men Origins kind of took you out in the left field. Days of Future Past, they got it right. They got it right, and effectively they rebooted the series without actually having to retell the whole story or another trilogy. So Hugh Jackman, as you know it, he did his part as Wolverine. I mean, no one does it better than him. When they do get to the point of having to recast that role, there's going to be problems. But I kind of think the feeling I got was the new face of the franchise is Mystique, is Jennifer Lawrence. So
she was best.
Yeah, you think about it. She's spearheading 2 franchises right now, So it's a really fun movie. The special effects, the 3D, the CGI was awesome, and you got to catch the ending. You got to catch the ending.
If everybody out here listening to the show, whether you're listening to it live or you're going to catch the podcast, if you go to these types of movies, you should know by now you don't leave a Marvel movie when the credits come up. And for my X-Men fans out there, I will not spoil it for you. I told it to my boy earlier, who he hasn't seen the movie yet. You will be very pleased when you see who the villain is after the credits. Major villain character.
Yes,
and they did it right.
Yep.
I'm excited to see what they do with it next. Like you said, some of it, like you said, the what was it? The X-Men First Class was a pretty good movie. Some of the same cast in this current one. But it's just completely erased with the poo-poo that Ratner did to the franchise. I mean, he just covered it. It was like what Joel Schumacher did to the Batman franchise when he put the nipples on the Batman suit. And it was just awful. George Clooney as Batman. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. They completely erased it, started over, so I love it.
Hey,
go check it out.
You got to give a shout out to Quicksilver. He had probably absolutely the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, he was awesome, and I love how they sold it. I don't want to give it away, but there's a connection between Quicksilver and another one of those characters in that movie. I'm not going to give it away. You got to go see it, and it's quick. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. But if you pay attention, you will catch that connection if you're an X-Men fan, and you will be very pleased that Brett Ratner got that in as well. And, before I get out, Mike Fassbender is one of the best young actors that I've seen in many years. I've seen him play all types of roles. I mean, the last time I saw him on the big screen, he was playing a wicked slave master in 12 Years a Slave, to the point to where even though you knew Michael Fassbender was playing a role, if you would have saw him on the street after that, you would have did him something. That's how wicked he was in 12 Years a Slave. And his role as Magneto was kind of like, is he a villain or is he a hero? It was kind of, he walked the line, man. He walked the line. It was beautiful. Hate it or love it. It was just great. So shout out to Michael Fassbender for playing a magnificent version of young Magneto. Now, we talk Citi Field, Big Ted. I was there, or in the area at least. We got to talk about that pitch 50 Cent made the other day, brother. I don't know. I mean, we know he a little brolic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when he jumped out and exploded the music scene, on that first single, he running on the treadmill, brolic. He's lifting weights, and he threw that baseball like his arm was made out of a noodle.
That was his version of the Ephus pitch.
Yeah, except it went to the side. It was like a boomerang Ephus. I'm like, where is he throwing this thing? I mean, I've seen people throw out horrible pitches a lot, but that one took the cake. So I just had to hit it for a little bit, but, he's still doing his thing. The social media push that showed that the G Unit reunited at Summer Jam, and I got to say that was a good look after all the nasty things they've said amongst each other, that they were able to come together as men, and build lives. Young Buck was back with the crew, so,
yes,
it was nice to see that as well. I'm only going to give a couple of seconds to Floyd Mayweather and T.I., but this is this is what you don't do once you have become blessed. I don't know. People almost it's like they get blessed, with a lot of money and, popularity and fame. It almost seems like they have to shovel dirt on themselves. They have to do something stupid because they don't feel right with the fame. They don't feel right 100% with the money. They may talk a lot of trash and brag, in their rhymes or brag in videos they post up and all managers, like Floyd Mayweather, for instance. I just bought this Bugatti, but they do stupid things like punch their girlfriends in the face, or your ex-wife is hanging out with this guy and you come in front of him, and T.I., I should say, and you threw a punch at Floyd Mayweather. What was T.I. thinking? What did he expect to accomplish out of that, Big Ted?
I don't know. That's a death wish right there. That's about it. Come on.
Seriously? But Ted, Mike Tyson is in his 40s, and I wouldn't roll up on him like that.
Nope. Not at all.
I'm telling you guys the honest truth. If Mike Tyson said something derogatory to somebody that I love, I'll be like, hey, it is what it is. We just got to keep it moving. I ain't trying to get knocked out. You feel me? So I don't know what the hell that was about, but it was definitely a you big dummy moment for both of them. So yeah. Now with all of that out of the way, round ball, baby, the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Like I said, this is episode 20. Finally, the finals tomorrow, Thursday. NBA Finals Game 1. LeBron, the King James, leader of the Big Three, and the Miami Heat are going up against one of the best coaches in the NBA today, in Greg Popovich, and one of my favorite people to watch interviews. Matter of fact, shout out to my main man, Tito, a.k.a. Norberto Caban, in Barbershop Sports Nation. He shared that link of the best of Greg Popovich interviews. Go on Barbershop Sports Facebook page and check that out. You will not be disappointed. But, getting back to the finals, Tim, the fundamentalist, Duncan, a.k.a. 2 games, 2 double-doubles away from passing Magic Johnson for the most double-doubles in NBA history. The best power forward to ever play the game. Tony Parker get to the cup when I feel like it. The X Factor, Boris Diaw, are going up against Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and the rest of the Heatles. This is why we watch basketball. It's not the 82 games because the NBA is so soft. It's not the first round, the second round, because the NBA is so soft. This is, while we watch basketball. So you could pretty much, if you could have a fast forward button for a season, basketball would be the season. You know, because you don't need to watch it until the finals. Because pretty much Miami Heat are going to win the East. Either Oklahoma City or San Antonio, no matter what you see from Golden State. some of the other teams that may look like they're trying to threaten, like the Los Angeles Clippers. Who's going to come out of the West? And pretty much, same story. We got a rematch. So let's get into it. Big Dansky, I know this is your time, brother. This is the sport that you love. Barbershop Sports Nation, we're talking basketball. So, Big Dansky, the 2.5, man of many names. Let's first talk Miami Heat and the Pacers series. First of all, it is of my opinion that the Miami Heat was always the true number one seed. No matter what the numbers said, the Pacers didn't play like they deserved it. They didn't play with any heart or any character. But speaking of characters, Big Dansky, I should say, let's talk about Lance Stevenson, man. Let's talk about blowing in the ear, the slapping LeBron in the face. Well, I mean, what was your take on these antics of Lance Stevenson in that matchup for the conference?
What's up, everybody? But to answer your question, I took the Lance Stevenson thing as a sign of desperation. It was simply put that this Indiana team was nowhere near what they should have been all year. I think after the All-Star game and after the trade of Danny Granger and then Andrew Bynum flaking out and Evan Turner somehow left his game in Philadelphia, Lance Stevenson was the only thing going for the Pacers. I mean, Paul George had the one good game in the series in Game 5 where he went lights out, and it was the Paul George we saw last year. But Paul George wasn't in the series. Roy Hibbert was in and out, and Lance Stevenson was the only thing they had. And Stevenson tried to pull out every trick in the book, and it just angered LeBron James, and you saw what happened.
I'm so disappointed in the Heat. I mean, not the Heat, the Pacers. It seemed like Lance Stevenson was the only guy who cared about winning. I mean, am I alone in Dan?
No, I
it didn't seem like Roy Hibbert or Paul George really cared if they won or lost.
Well, I think it was the fact of Lance Stevenson was number one playing for a contract. I mean, if you take away the antics, of trying to kiss LeBron or blowing his ear or asking what time he could take him out to dinner, Stevenson literally is playing for a contract, and he is trying to get paid this summer. So, of course, if he shows out this entire series, either Indiana's going to have to pay him or somebody's going to overpay him this summer. So I think Lance was out there playing for not just the Pacers. He was playing for his paycheck, his wallet.
No doubt. Well, I mean, outside of his, silliness, and I'm telling you right now, man, LeBron James has got a lot of restraint, brother. That definitely shows you what it takes, the characteristics and qualities it takes to be a leader. Because I would have just bust that dude upside the head, bro, and then I would have been, I would have been suspended for a game or two, and that could have threatened my team's, chances. So. Props to him for holding back, because I saw his face. He looked like he was buzzing in the mouth. Like, dude, what is wrong with you? But he took it out on him on the court, which was the right thing to do. Now, let's talk about what's current, what's happening now. Tomorrow night, you got a rematch of the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami. Let's talk about X factors. I mean, because last year, and it a lot of times works out that way with a lot of championship teams, whereas you have your stars, and, speaking specifically Miami right now, and LeBron James and Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade are the de facto stars of that team. A lot of times it's the others are the ones that take the team over the hump, give them that extra push they need. And last year we saw that with Ray Allen and Mario Chalmers coming up. Who this time around do you think, Big Dan, is the X factor for the Miami Heat?
Norris Cole. I think Norris Cole has a chance to literally send Mario Chalmers packing. Mario Chalmers is a free agent this summer, and if Norris Cole can lead the second unit, with Birdman, and if they decide to bring Haslam off the bench and, Ray Allen, if Cole can bring that, that firepower from the point guard position to match Patty Mills, who's the backup for Tony Parker, that would pretty much spell the end of Mario Chalmers being the guy as a scapegoat, as they say in Miami. So I think Cole is the huge X factor. I think if Cole has a big series, then the Heat will be well on their way to win the championship.
Wow. I mean, I didn't think that you would say Norris Cole. I was kind of thinking him, but I was kind of thinking the guy you said that Cole is going to unseat in Mario Chalmers, because he normally plays big in moments when Dwayne Wade or LeBron James or Chris Bosh are not having good games. So that's an interesting breakdown there. Now, we all know contract years are coming up for LeBron James. Do you see LeBron staying in Miami if they lose this series?
If they lose, if the Heat win the third championship, I see LeBron opting in. And I think he does it for one reason. He has a chance to do something next season that Kobe Bryant hasn't done, and neither has Michael Jordan done. And it hasn't been done since the 60s, and that's four-peat. People always want to compare LeBron to Jordan or Kobe or who's the greater player. LeBron would have the ability to do something that those two have never done, and that's win 4 consecutive championships in a row. Yeah, Jordan went to baseball for 2 years, and he did win 2 championships and won 6 out of 8, but Jordan never won 4 straight. Kobe never won 4 straight. He'll be in that Bill Russell, Boston Celtics 1950s and 60s era where they won 4 championships in a row. He'll be on that level. So that would just separate his greatness even more.
Interesting thought. So let's talk Spurs now, brother. Now, they're coming in a little bit banged up as far as this, the guy that makes the engine tick in Tony Parker. His ankle's a little bit messed up, and I think he may have a hamstring issue. How do you think that those injuries are going to affect his game coming into this series?
I don't think it affects his game. I think they had the days off to rest before the finals. There's potentially 7 games left in the season before Tony Parker can take the rest of the summer off. I think the Spurs are at full strength. Tony did take the rest of Game 6 off, and San Antonio still won. I don't think Parker's injury is going to be much of a big factor, because Mario Chalmers is not going to make Tony Parker run around the court like Russell Westbrook, or Steph Curry would, and that type of situation. So I don't think it's going to be much of a strain defensively on Parker. I think he's fine offensively.
Interesting. Now, they were a great team last year, but this year, in my opinion, they look even better than they did last year. It looked like Kawhi Leonard has took another step forward. It looks like Thiago Splitter as well has taken a step forward, and Boris Diaw, I should say, has become an excellent utility guy, just doing whatever needs to be done. Who's going to be the X factor for the Spurs in this series?
The 3-point champion, Marco Bellinelli. I think the difference was...
The Bellinelli? Really?
Bellinelli, yes. Because with Marco Bellinelli on the floor, that allows Ginobili to be a creator off the bench. Ginobili's already a good scorer. Now Ginobili doesn't have to worry about being the outside threat. Doesn't have to worry. He just play his game. Bellinelli has been lights out all year behind the 3-point line. I mean, the regular season he hit 43% from the 3-point line. He's at about 41.5 this year in the playoffs. So, and Bellinelli is a streaky shooter, but he has been very consistent with that three-point shot. And kind of the same thing with Danny Green was last year in the finals. Danny Green, the first 5 games was just lights out amazing. Just went missing the last couple games. You couldn't find him on a milk carton. I think Bellinelli gives the Spurs another three-point threat to an already team that's loaded with, with Green, Matt Bonner, Patty Mills has been hitting the three-point shot consistently. Kawhi Leonard, they're loaded everywhere behind the three-point line. And Bellinelli, I think, is the X factor in the series.
Gotcha. Now, the Spurs team. Do you think this team is better than it was last year?
They're deeper. I think the fact of Ginobili being more healthier than he was last year. Like I said, Bellinelli, Patty Mills has been amazing. He's been way better than people thought he was. He took Corey Joseph's backup point guard role. Boris Diaw, after we saw what he did in the Oklahoma City series, the Spurs are a team that literally is 9 to 10 players deep. And they're 9 to 10 quality and solid players deep. And so Pop doesn't have to shorten the bench unless he chooses to. And I think he's too smart not to shorten his bench. I think he could run 10 guys in a series and try to wear down the Heat with waves of players.
That's what's up. So I have heard some people say that the Spurs have approached the postseason like a team on a mission. Like they believe that they should have won that championship last year, and they're coming back to get it. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a true statement. I mean, they've been workmanlike the whole year. There hasn't been any flashiness. The Spurs have come in, and they have taken down every opponent they've had to play. I mean, just think about it. They beat Oklahoma City where they did not have Tony Parker in the second half, won in Oklahoma City, won the game in overtime with guys like Boris Diaw playing one of the best games of his career. They still have Tim Duncan, like you said, it's 2 double-doubles away from the all-time record. You have Kawhi Leonard, Thiago Splitter. These guys are focused on winning a championship. And there's nothing stopping them in the path of that championship but one man. And that's the guy wearing the 6 jersey for Miami.
No doubt. That's the ultimate X factor, right? in LeBron James. I mean, a guy that can, pretty much do it all. I mean, facilitate, get to the cup. His J has improved remarkably since first coming into the league. I mean, he can do whatever needs to be done, and he's a prime time defender as well, rebounder. So I mean, the guy just—he's a coach's dream. So you got to account for that. So let's just get straight to it, brother. Who do you got winning this championship, and why?
The format of the finals changed this year. Last couple of years has been a 2-3-2 format, which has not favored and not been very kind to the team who does not have home court advantage, because you have to win at least one game on the road and try to close the series out before you have to go back on the road. This year, in a 2-2-1-1-1 format, this series favors the Miami Heat. The simple fact that the Heat can win on the road just as much as the Spurs can, but like you said, like you said just a second ago, the ultimate X factor in the series is the guy wearing the 6 jersey. With Game 6 being in Miami, I don't think the Heat let this series get back to San Antonio for Game 7. I think you possibly could see a split in both Miami and San Antonio in the first 4 games. I think Dwayne Wade will have a Dwayne Wade performance like he did last year in the finals, where he is vintage Wade and he just takes apart the Spurs. And I think they close out in Game 6. I have the Heat looking to.
Gotcha. B-Ride. Now you got Danny thoughts on the finals.
Oh yeah, I've been listening.
What's your thought on it, brother?
I have Spurs. This is a team that, since they lost last year, this has been their number one goal. They've played a tougher schedule. They had a tougher run in the playoffs. I mean, you had Miami play a JV squad in Charlotte. They played a geriatric Brooklyn Nets team with Kevin Garnett pounding his chest, not because he was tearing it up, because he wanted to keep his heart going to keep playing. And then game 6, I mean, the Pacers were lucky to get there, and I was surprised they even won 6 games. And that last game I shut it off at halftime. It was terrible to watch. But Spurs, this is Coach Pop. There's some talk about could they make another run, especially with the West being as deep as it was. But they made quick work of Dallas. I was surprised with how quick they disposed of Portland. Then I thought they would have a battle on their hands with OKC, but they jumped up 2 games and allowed 2 games to go back to OKC before they ultimately closed out 6. So I just think this team overall is a bad matchup. Spurs they can go many different ways. I mean, you saw game 6 versus Oklahoma City where they started Matt Bonner at center to give them more offense, spread the floor more because he's a great 3-point shooter, not really powerhouse center, but that's something Miami doesn't have either. So they can match up even play Miami at whatever pace or size they want to play at. And Tony Parker, I don't care if it's North Cole or Mario Chalmers, even with an ankle bothering him, he's going to get his payback this year. I mean, they know they let last year get away from them, that they should have won that series. So they're going to be coming back with a vengeance. Tony Parker, you're going to have to put LeBron on him, but that's going to leave Kawhi Leonard to keep going on his breakout season. So I got the Spurs 6 games. They're going to be taking this title this year. The end of Miami's run, Bosh might have a game. Wade has been playing better. But with the shooting that the Spurs have with Danny Green, he's been playing great this playoff. Bellinelli, as Danny touched on, just gives them another depth player. He hasn't been playing that good for the playoffs, but he had a good season with them. He's another shooter that comes off the bench for him. Has you hit on Boris Diaw playing like he's a 22-year-old again. And so I just like this Spurs team, and I just think they're too experienced, too hungry. They got the better coach, and they got the best power forward in the game, where I don't care who Miami brings off the bench. I don't care if they, go in the back locker room and open up that big locker and pull Greg Oden's skeleton butt out and try to put him on. That ain't going to work. It's not going to matter. Anderson, there's nobody on that Miami team that come close to matching up with Tim Duncan. So I'm going with the Spurs at 6, like I said.
No doubt. Big Ted.
Yeah, I mean, we got some great expert analysts,
yes,
and then you have me.
Oh, that's stop.
because I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm a fan. I've always loved this league. I'm going to say real quick, Heat in 7. Expect Bosh to be the X factor because we know what we're going to get from James and Wade. Honorable mention, this three-peat does not compare in any way, shape, or form to either three-peat from Jordan. I'm out.
No doubt. He dropped the mic and walked away, no doubt. So my thoughts on it, I'm going Spurs in 6. Much like my brother over there, B-Rye, I feel like the way that they have approached the postseason is just ridiculous. I mean, they look like a bunch of hungry wolves looking for their prey, and the prey is the Miami Heat. Like when they started, matter of fact, you guys don't even know the torture that Greg Popovich put Danny Green through for his missed defensive assignments in last year's finals. I mean, he put him through the ringers. But that's what best coaches do. And you see how Danny has responded. Coach Pop is not partial to just, laying down the thunder on anybody. I've seen him pull Tim Duncan on the side. I've seen him ream Tony Parker. He doesn't care. Tony Parker could have came in the game and unstoppable, had a beautiful performance. When it's his time to go to the bench, ain't no good job from Coach Pop. That's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's why I think that leadership, the depth that B-Ride brought up, with Spurs, like Big Danny also touched on as well, he does not have to shorten his bench. And you're going to have to pick your poison. Who are you going to stop? You're going to stop Ginobili, you're going to stop Kawhi Leonard, you're going to stop Tim Duncan, you're going to stop Tony Parker. But then are you going to game plan for Boris Diaw? Are you going to game plan for Danny? You can't game plan for all of these people. And this team is passing the ball well. I didn't even mention Thiago Splitter. This team is doing everything right. From spreading the ball, playing good defense, at times they're great as well. Now, I'm not saying that the Miami Heat is going to be any joke. Like, you have to account for the ultimate X factor in LeBron James. And God hope his headband doesn't come off in this series, because then I'm going to really get worried about my prediction. Because if his headband comes off, Lord, like we saw last year, it was no joke. But I really feel strong about the San Antonio Spurs this year. I think they're better than they were last year as far as, like I said, a couple of guys have making steps forward. And then you got a whole bunch of X factors. It's not just one X. It could be Boris Diaw. It could be Bellinelli, like Dan said. It could be Matt Bond. I mean, Big Ted, one of the main reasons why I love Coach Pop, why I feel like he's the best coach in the NBA, is when they asked him what advantage did he think putting Matt Bonner as center gave him, his answer to the media was, I'd rather not answer that, and I'd rather Oklahoma City figure that out. I mean, they're talking about a genius, a master of the chessboard. Yep. So, I gotta go Spurs, man. Spurs in 6, and with the game 7 being in San Antonio, I love LeBron. I know Dwayne Wade can go nuts if those knees are feeling good. But I think it's just too much. They just got too much this year, and they're just on a mission. So Spurs. So hopefully we see a great finals. Nonetheless, no matter who wins, it's going to be awesome. You got two awesome teams, well-coached teams that are going to be, giving everything they got to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy. So it's like I said, this will be a great time in sports with the Stanley Cup. Last time I looked, they were still knotted up in the third period, and looks like they're still knotted up at 2. So it looks like they may be going into overtime. So again, I'm excited that after this show goes out, I get the chance to maybe check out a little overtime. But you have a great series matchup in those two teams. Like Todd broke down, and with his expert opinion, these teams are identically matched. And going back to the NBA, a finals talk, those teams are not identically matched. I mean, Miami has a system that they work on. The engine is LeBron James. Obviously, if Dwayne Wade is feeling great, that's a great X factor for them. But I just think the Spurs are too deep. But it's going to be a great matchup nonetheless. So we look forward to it. I don't know, D25, you got any blogs coming out related to the NBA?
Well, yeah. Actually, this is going to be, I call it the cornucopia of blogs this weekend. I will have a Father's blog out probably sometime tomorrow, Hezzy, about breaking down why I think the Eagles will win the series. I'll go position by position, and then break the benches down, the coaches, and my thought process behind it. Also, there's going to be an article about Kevin Love and his whole summer situation, and Russell Westbrook, and then I will have my mock draft 2.0, hopefully all by Sunday. So, for all the NBA fans out there, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming my way. Since I'm off hiatus this week, just like you are. So, I got a whole bunch of NBA stuff coming this week.
No doubt. So we got about 6 minutes, a little over 6 minutes left. Big Ted, we talked about which league, which sports organization has the best product as far as you're concerned. So let me get your top 5, Big Ted.
Should be easy. NFL, number 1. Number 2, you guys are not going to like this, MLB. Number 3 is going to be, this is rough, MLS.
Wow.
Number 4, NHL.
Okay.
And I think NBA covers it up for number 5.
No doubt. B-Ride, what's your top 5, brother?
Well, you got the NFL, obviously, number 1. Number 2, easily, because of the playoffs, is the most exciting in all sports, regardless of what other people may tell you. Tune in and watch is NHL. Number 3, I got MLB. Number 4, I got the NBA. Number 5, I got to put, I know it's usually only on, but it's curling. I was only on usually Olympics.
I knew was going to make your top 5.
Wow.
Right.
I knew it. Well, you guys are really, you're surprised at me with your top 5. Now, to my main man, D2.5. What are your top 5, brother?
I mean, me being the NBA guy, I would say NBA first, but I'm being realistic. It's the NFL first. Outside the NFL, I think the NBA is second. Major League Baseball is third. As much as I love hockey, the exposure makes the NHL fourth. And fifth, I think MLS has now jumped ahead of NASCAR as the fifth sport in America.
No doubt. Now we swing it on back to Big Hez, and like everybody else is unanimous. Number 1, obviously the king of sports in this country, and to me, is the NFL. Even though I give them a hard time because I think the rules are soft, I think the guys complain too much. The NBA is still my number 2. Number 3, for me, it moved up a bunch of spots, is the NHL. And I believe that come next season, for me, as I get more into it and understand what icing is and offsides and, some of the other substitutions and how they, position the players. And, I think the NHL will replace the NBA at number 2. But currently, NBA is number 2, NHL is number 3. Number 4 for me, I would say is I would say it's golf. I'm a big golf guy. I love the Opens, love watching that. And let me see, what's number 5? Number 5 for me, what I get excited to watch, I probably would say tennis. So there you go. So for me, NFL, NBA, NHL, golf, and tennis. Those are as far as getting excited, NASCAR, I know we got our expert Chase, but, watching cars go around in a circle, really doesn't do anything for me. I haven't watched it live yet, so there's no way that, I could put it in my top 5 yet. I understand it's a big sport for the people that watch it, but these are my top 5. For me, watching the Grand Slams, with Serena and, some of these, top players in the world, for me, it's awesome. So that's my top 5. We want to know what your top 5 are. Hit us on Barbershop Sports Facebook page. You can hit us on Twitter, and let us know, what your top 5 sports are. Now, Big D 2.5, you said there's no way. You don't see any way for the NHL to overtake the NBA. Is that right?
No. Mm-mm. All I have to say is you look at the ratings from last year, and I know we have a Kings and Rangers final, but just think about it. If your sport has 2 of its championship games on cable television, then you have a problem. Game 3 and 4 is on NBC Sports Network, which is not even in 60% of the homes in America unless you have an extremely high cable package for sports. Until Gary Bettman, and I'm a huge NHL guy, but until Gary Bettman gets a better deal, and number 2, they can get back on ESPN in some kind of way, shape, or format where ESPN actually cares about hockey, NHL will always be on the back burner.
Well, I'm going to put it
coming for you, Danny. Let you know
yeah, exactly. We're nipping at the heel, and we're coming. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I said it, when I put together the promo for this, I believe that the Stanley Cup Finals will be more entertaining to watch than just because of the level of competition than the NHL. What's up, brother?
Hey, we got Mike from Pittsburgh. He wants to give his top 5, and he could do it in 10 seconds. Can he get in?
We got 30 seconds, bro.
Give him 10.
30 seconds.
Yes
all right.
or no?
Look, well, we're fans, we love you. We're going to wrap it up. Mike, give us your top 5, brother.
NFL, NBA, a great boxing match, like back in the old days, Major League Baseball, NHL. That's it, guys.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Mike. You know what? I know this is going to carry us a little bit into the recorded podcast. Fans, thanks for listening. I forgot about boxing. I don't know how. You know what? I'm going to have to shift tennis down and move boxing. So, matter of fact, I'm going to move boxing above golf and bump golf down to 5. There you go. So that's my top 5 right there. And ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, it's so good to be back with the fellas. B-Rise here, man. D 2.5, Big Ted, Big Buckle came through and represented. Espo and Brother Todd, the whole Voltron formation of Barbershop Sports, more or less, came through. We love you guys, man. We're going to be doing more blogs. We kind of slowed down a little bit on that, but we're going to crank that back up again. More Google Hangouts are coming. So stay tuned. I think B-Rye, we may have some T-shirts in the wings. So stay tuned for that. Barbershop Sports gear. We'll have that. We'll be rocking it ourselves, obviously, and then, we'll make it available to the public as well. Get some Barbershop Sports gear. So, ladies and gentlemen, for me, Big Hez, the whole team here at Barbershop Sports, we love you guys. We will be back next Wednesday night with another live show. Everybody enjoy this week of Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, and the Triple Crown Belmont Stakes this weekend. Have a great night.
Yes, sir.
Peace. Peace.
It's the Hollywood Rockin' Wrap-Up with your host, Jason Hadley. Following her drunk driving conviction, a Long Island judge sentenced Dina Lohan to 100 hours of community service. Lindsay's mom was arrested last year after Long Island police discovered how much she loves their local iced tea. Rihanna left little to the imagination as she walked a Fashion Awards red carpet wearing a see-through dress. Despised by PETA for regularly wearing fur, the singer considered going bare-breasted if wearing a bear's breast didn't seem more like a winter accessory. Completing a 20-year sentence, the real-life cocaine smuggler played by Johnny Depp in the movie Blow is now a free man. Well, that seems kind of obvious. When has a free man ever been in prison?
There must be a con like me in every prison in America.
Okay, I stand corrected. The cover photo was recently released for Irish singer Sinead O'Connor's upcoming record. In light of her feminist views, CD versions of the upcoming album will be sold without that hole in the middle. And that's the Hollywood Rock and Wrap Up. Follow us on Twitter @RockandWrapUp.